10:30 on Channel 9.
Power, power.
Leadoff Man is brought to you by your Chicagoland Chevy dealers. Good people to know when you're looking for a car.
Steve Stone up in the booth at Wrigley Field, and it's a revamped Wrigley Field for 1989, and a lot of excitement around the ballpark today. Floyd Yeoman's going to the mound for Philadelphia. It's going to be Rick Sutcliffe for the 5th straight opening day assignment for the Cubs. And it's going to be a hopeful turnaround for the Cubs, who had a very bad spring, but right now nothing counts. All the records are washed away, and everybody starts right at 0-0 going into the 1989 season. So we have a lot of entertainment for you here, and we'll be back with all of the opening day festivities right after these messages. Hi there. How you doing?
In the market for a used car? Well, here's a dealer who's got to unload his wheels any way he can.
Trust me.
Kurt Russell leads the wildest car stampede ever.
Trust me.
Used car.
Trust me.
Tonight at 7 on Channel 9.
When '87 rolled around, I knew exactly where I wanted to be. So I just did everything within my power to get there. Now I'm finally having fun doing what I do. In fact, I'm having so much fun, it's like I'm making up for lost time.
Chicago, you've got the blues. Hill Street Blues, tonight at 10:30 on Channel 9.
The Philadelphia Phillies are being announced, and they're lining up down the first baseline, so let's go down to the field.
Number 43, Ken Howell. Number 44, Mike Maddox. Number 46, Larry McWilliams. Number 41, Steve Ontiveros. Number 49, Jeff Parrott. And number 47, Bruce Ruffin. Now the catchers, number 25, Steve Lake. And number 19, Tom Nieto. The infielders, number 30, Steve Jeltz. And number 17, Ricky Jordan. The outfielders, number 24, Kurt Ford. Number 6, Dwayne Murphy. Number 31, Mark Ryle. And number 8, Juan Samuel. The Philadelphia Phillies coaching staff, number 2, Larry Boa. Number 3, Darryl Knowles. Number 4, Dennis Menke. Number 5, Mike Ryan. Number 7, John Vukovich. And number 12, Tony Taylor. Ladies and gentlemen, the Philadelphia Phillies trainers are Jeff Cooper and Mark Anderson. And the Philadelphia equipment manager is Frank Kopenbarger. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Philadelphia Phillies.
Both of these teams can be excused if they don't recognize one another. They didn't see each other in spring training, and there's a lot of new faces on both sides of the field. And there you look at the dugout for the Chicago Cubs, ready to be announced, and I'm
now,
sure to a very appreciative Wrigley Field fandom.
Chicago Cubs. First, the manager of the Chicago Cubs, number 4, Don Zimmer. And here's the starting lineup for opening day 1989 for your Chicago Cubs. Leading off and playing in center field, number 20, Jerome Walton. Batting second and playing in left field, Mitch Webster. Playing second base and batting third, number 23, Ryne Sandberg. In the cleanup spot, batting fourth, number 8, the right fielder, Andre Dawson. Hitting fifth and playing first base, number 17, Mark Grace. Batting sixth, number 2, the third baseman, Vance Law. The shortstop hitting seventh, number 12, Sean Dunston. Batting eighth, the catcher, number 7, Joe Girardi. And today's starting pitcher, warming up in the Cubs left field, bullpen right-hander, number 40, Rick Sutcliffe.
We're going to go to commercial as the rest of the Chicago Cubs now are being introduced to the fans, and we'll be right back after these messages.
Why do fools fall in love?
Why?
So they don't have to eat alone. Steve Martin.
Iris, where are you?
Desperate.
You want to go to dinner?
I'm a man.
Dateless.
Could you turn out the spotlight, please?
Certainly.
Dining alone. He used to be a jerk.
Your things are going.
Now he's a lonely guy.
At the sound of the tone, please forget me.
Thursday night at 7 on Channel 9.
When '87 rolled around, I knew exactly where I wanted to be. So I just did everything within my power to get there. Now I'm finally having fun doing what I do. In fact, I'm having so much fun, it's like I'm making up for lost time.
Since 1961, when Dwayne got his first and only Cub Cadet tractor, he's gone through several changes, while his Cub Cadet has remained faithfully the same. No wonder. It's built tough the American way, without resorting to imported parts, with a cast front axle and a welded steel frame that lasts and lasts. It's kept Dwayne's little corner of the world trim and fit. Unfortunately, it couldn't do the same for Dwayne. Cub Cadet, tough tractors for your little corner of the world.
Announced the sun is out in all its glory. There you take a look at the color guard as the coaching staff is being announced to the fans. And in just a moment, we will have our national anthem. And then the start of the 1989 baseball season. There are 15 new faces in Cub uniforms heading into this season. So revamp ball club for Jim Fry and Don Zimmer.
Naval Training Station.
As the color guard moves into position, ladies and gentlemen, the national anthem.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, at this time, we ask that you please join along with me, Chicago Cubs public address announcer Wayne Messmer, accompanied by Kathleen Messmer, in the singing of God Bless America, followed by our national anthem.
God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with a light from above. From the mountains, through the prairies, to the oceans wide with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
It's going to be Rick Sutcliffe against Floyd Yeomans. Yeomans from Montreal. He came over in the offseason. Rick Sutcliffe 0-4 in spring training. He's looking to turn that around today. So it's going to be exciting, and stay tuned for baseball.
Leadoff Man was brought to you by your Chicagoland Chevy dealers. Good people to know when you're looking for a car.
Celebrate 75 years of history at Wrigley Field. Saturday, April 8th is Wristband Day at Wrigley Field. Every youngster 13 and under attending the Cubs-Pirates game receives a Cubs wristband, compliments of Gatorade. To purchase your tickets, stop by the advanced ticket windows at Wrigley Field, any Chicago Cubs sports shop, or call Ticketmaster at 559-1212.
Come on and see the Cubbies play. Hey, baseball fans, where can you see a Tom Berenger pickoff?
Zipper on your skirt stock.
A Charlie Sheen slider?
What league you been playing in? California Penal.
A Corbin Burnson double play? And yours truly, Bob Uecker in the booth. Only in Major League. The comedy out of left field that'll blow you right out of the bleachers. So watch out for the opening day of Major League.
Rated R. Starts Friday, April 7th at theaters everywhere.
I'm Al Meyer, president of Willowbrook Ford, the dominant force in trucks.
We are trucks.
And cars, too.
Now save more at Willowbrook Ford than all these ads combined. Save hundreds and hundreds on cars, trucks, and vans during our Truck Center construction clearance. We'll beat any bona fide ad you bring us now. And we'll bury the competition with a better deal now. Willowbrook Ford, a half-mile north of I-55 on Route 83.
We are trucks.
And cars, too.
It's baseball under the lights for opening night 89. Tomorrow night at 6:30 on Channel 9.
Cubs power, power.
Changes have been made. First, the lights. Now, a brand new press box. Look at the brand new skyboxes. But still, this beautiful Wrigley Field as we start the 1989 season. Stay with us now for every thrilling play.
Baseball is brought to you in part by Budweiser. For that clean, crisp taste, this Bud's for you. Your Chicagoland, Northwest Indiana Better Buick dealers. The Great American Road belongs to Buick. True Value Hardware. For quality, selection, and personal attention, make True Value Hardware your store of first choice. The Chicago Tribune, where you'll always get the freshest sports. Unical 76, who invite you to go with the spirit of 76. Pepsi Cola, the choice of a new generation. Canon, proud to be the official camera of the Chicago Cubs. United Airlines, rededicated to giving you the service you deserve. Come fly the friendly skies. And Nissan, building cars for people who want more than just a means of getting from here to there. Nissan, built for the human race.
The graceful arch of a washerless accent faucet by Sterling is backed by a 10-year drip-free warranty. Triple chrome-plated on brass construction, it conserves 30% more water. At Builder Square for only $44, $54 with spray. Builder Square. The more we sell, the lower the price. The lower the price, the more we sell.
$60,666.
5,375 feet.
16,000 feet.
400 miles.
18 feet.
I'm on the road every day of the week, making over a dozen stops along my route, so I know the value of good brakes. I've got a lot of little lives depending on them. And when I'm out on the road with my family, our lives depend on good brakes. That's why I depend on Meineke.
At Meineke, we do brakes, and we do them right. We analyze the whole system, pinpoint the problem, and fix it, period.
No matter why you're on the road, you can depend on brakes from Meineke. I
do. Hello again, everybody. Harry Caray at Wrigley Field, and what a beautiful Wrigley Field it is. The changes from a year ago, the lights, the new press box, the super boxes. It's you wouldn't know the old ballpark, would you? And it's hard for me to believe that this ballpark, as beautiful as it looks right now, is actually only 4 years younger than Comiskey Field, Comiskey Park, which they are in the process of tearing down. But that's baseball. And the Cubs are ready to open the season. Joe Girardi must be the most excited youngster in the world today, because he's going to be catching. Little did he dream that on this day, April 4th, 1989, he'd be behind the plate catching the slants of Rick Sutcliffe on the opening game of the season. Well, he may not have dreamed of it, but it is reality. because he's behind the plate today. We'll have the lineups and all the thrills for you. Stay with us for exciting Cub baseball.
You don't think about electricity when the lights work, or when the coffee perks, or when the refrigerator stays cold. The reason you can take electricity for granted is because Commonwealth Edison doesn't. But on a cold November evening in Chicago, Mr. Clarence Williams didn't either. And that made it a real warm place to be. Commonwealth Edison, we're there when you need us.
Century and more, business travelers have depended on United Airlines to get them to their most important meetings. United, rededicated to giving you the service you deserve. Come fly the friendly skies.
This is Solly Saltwell with his wife Betty throwing out the first ball. Solly's been with the Cubs for so many years. Pretty good pitch too. And this season officially now is underway at Wrigley Field in Chicago. And Salty, a very happy gentleman. Joe Girardi shaking hands with him. There you have it. There's Rick Sutcliffe getting ready. Here are the lineups for today's game. For the Phillies, Dernier in center. Herr at second. Hayes at first. Schmidt at third. James in left. Jones in right. Theron at short. Dalton the catcher. And Floyd Yeomans, formerly of the Expos, is on the mound. For the Chicago Cubs, as you see Rick Sutcliffe getting ready, Walton in center field, a rookie. Webster in left. Sandberg at second. Dawson in right. Grace at first. Law at third. Dunston at short. Girardi just up from Double-A baseball, the catcher. And Rick Sutcliffe, the pitcher. The umpire, Bruce Fleming, working the plate. Terry Tata at first. Dana DeMuth at second. Steve Ripley at third. With Steve Stone, this is Harry Caray from Wrigley Field. Listen to the roar of the crowd. And we're about to start the season. And wouldn't you know that the weatherman is a real Cub fan? Look at the sun shining. I'd have bet yesterday there could not be baseball today. And if you heard many of the weather reports, you would have bet with me. But now a bright sun is shining, bathing this entire Wrigley Field. And here is Bobby Dernier, formerly the Phillies, then with the Cubs, now back with the Phillies. First pitch, base hit, right field. On the first pitch, Bobby Dernier singles to right. A good start for the Phillies, a bad start for Sutcliffe.
Bobby Dernier had a very good spring where he hit .319, and he continues that, taking a fastball. It's right down the middle, and he slices it to right field, and this is the Phillies' base running threat. They've got some injuries. Juan Samuel is not in the starting lineup. He's got a hamstring problem. Ricky Jordan, the fine first baseman, is not in the lineup, but he'll probably be in there tomorrow. So the Phillies got a lot of injuries the last few days of spring training.
Here's Tommy Herr, left-hand batter, the pitch strike call. Tommy Herr, who starred for the St. Louis Cardinals, surprisingly was traded to the Minnesota Twins for Tom Brunansky. Never did get over that. Now he has signed with the Phillies. Herr, 33 years old today. This is his birthday. Lead on first base by Bobby Dernier, who's very fast. You all know that.
Tommy Herr is a very good hit-and-run man. And with Mike Schmidt, not the same Mike Schmidt as far as the power department is concerned. Nick Leyva, the new manager of the Phillies, will probably try some motion early in the game.
Fastball is outside. Sutcliffe. You know, actually, it just goes to show that performances don't decide pitching rotation. Scotty Sanderson, without a question, was the best pitcher in spring training. He's listed 4th in the rotation. Now the pitch. Fastball outside. Boy, our vantage point is high in the stands behind home plate. We're right attached to the roof. There it is. That'll give you an idea. Good view of the entire field. Superior view from the one we used to have. Runner back, you know, Dernier now, a good base runner. He's been suffering a little bit. They were afraid he might not play today with a slightly pulled hamstring. 2 balls and a strike. Again to throw over there.
Nick Leyva coached in the major leagues under Whitey Herzog in St. Louis. He managed 6 years in the minor leagues. Went to winter ball 3 different years, and remains to be seen what type of manager he's going to be. After that indoctrination in St. Louis, you would think that he would be a very aggressive running style manager.
There goes the runner. Swung and missed the play. He is out! Girardi threw him on. What a throw! Right on the button. Holy cow! That's the way to break into the major league.
Will isolate on Bobby Dernier, and Joe Girardi breaks in great fashion. He throws a bullet to Sean Dunson, and they cut down Bobby Dernier. Watch it again, a perfect ball to throw. Her trying to protect. The throw is right on the button, and down goes Dernier.
No doubt about it. The count now 2-2 on Tommy Herr. Girardi cut down one of the real good base runners of the National League. Ball 3. Come on, Rick, let's go. 3 balls, 2 strikes.
Herr had some great years with St. Louis. In 1983, he hit .323. Followed it up with a .302 season in 1985. 1988 found him hitting .260 with St. Louis and .263 with Minnesota in half a season.
3-2. Foul ball out of play. Boy, this view is great. You know something? I love the new press box. I can't even smell that cigar of yours. You keep puffing away, and I don't even get an odor.
Well, we get a lot of wind up here, especially today. And what wind there is blowing straight out over the center field wall.
3-2 pitch. Fouled it off again, 3-2.
Tommy Herr was always a good contact hitter from both sides of the plate. He hit right in the middle of the St. Louis lineup when he was over there. Of course, he was protected with Jack Clark behind him in the years that Clark wore the St. Louis uniform, and that gives you a lot of protection. In fact, that's when Tommy had his best years, with Clark behind him to hit the long ball and a lot of speedsters in front of him.
He hit .302 in 86, 85. The pitch. A high fly ball. Left field being chased. No play. Webster gave it a good challenge, but the ball was out of reach.
This is the 5th straight starting assignment for Rick Sutcliffe, and that matches anybody who's ever worn a Cub uniform except Fergie Jenkins, who worked in 7 straight openers from 1967 to 1973. So Rick Sutcliffe is indeed in elite company in starting opening day assignments.
Rick Sutcliffe facing Tommy Herr. Line drive. It'll be caught beautifully by Mitch Webster. The ball was tailing away from him. A nice diving catch by Webster on number 2. That brings a big smile to Jimmy Pearsall's face.
Webster had a tough time in spring training, but he makes a fine play here, going over to his right, and he takes this sinking line drive double attempt away from Tommy Herr. A fine running effort by Mitch Webster.
That brings up Von Hayes. Another left-hand hitter. Boy, these Phillies, once they get Sam Well back in the lineup, are they going to present a pretty good offensive lineup.
Well, you know, Harry, talking with Lee Thomas, who's the vice president and general manager of the team, he said he's not concerned about scoring runs. He knows with Samuel and Jordan, they're going to produce some offense. He's concerned about his starting pitchers.
A little bit high. Ball 2. Hayes, only 30 years old. He's been in the major league since '81.
There's a look at Nick Leyva, ex-third base coach of the St. Louis Cardinals, now the manager of the Phillies.
Now ready? Good strike call. Sutcliffe reared back and fired that time. A capacity crowd here at Wrigley Field. And the weatherman, to this moment, has cooperated beautifully. Two balls and a strike. 2 out. Gets away from Girardi. 3 balls, 1 strike. A typical Sutcliffe inning in that he's pitching very slowly.
He's also behind some hitters, Harry, and that's not a good sign, especially with the man up at bat who usually hits Rick Sutcliffe very well. Von Hayes has a wide open stance. He waits well on the breaking ball, and he's hurt Sutcliffe in the past.
Now the pitch. Swung on, there's a drive, foul. 3 balls, 2 strikes.
There were a lot of rumors in spring training about Von Hayes being traded to various clubs. He was offered around, but never seriously. If you talk to Lee Thomas, he says that he had some discussions, just preliminary discussions with teams. They all talked about Von Hayes, but when anybody came to the Phillies in a trade, they came to him for their talented young left-hander who's going to be in the starting rotation this year, Bruce Ruffin.
Hayes, during his lifetime, hitting .523 against Sutcliffe with 3 homers, 9 RBI. 500 hitter against Sutcliffe. Last year, I recall he had a string of something like 9 hits in a row. 3 balls, 2 strikes. A bouncing ball. We get him out this time. Sandberg throws out Hayes. So 1 hit, nobody left. They go in the bottom of the first, no score.
For the pride, for the dream, for the love, and for the team, for the sweat and for the drive, for the reason you strive.
For all you do, the clean, crisp taste of Beechwood aged Budweiser.
This bud's for you. This bud's for you.
Dorothy, sweaters are selling like crazy.
Oh, call me Dot.
So when things got busy, Dot got a Canon PC 6RE, the ultimate personal copier.
These little cartridges make it easy to take care of.
The 6RE reduces, enlarges, and its stationary top gives her extra space.
I need my space, don't you know?
The Canon PC 6RE is advanced enough for any business.
Isn't he cute?
Canon personal cartridge copiers, born to run.
When you were a kid, you wanted your bike to sound like a car. Nowadays, you'd like your car to be as quiet as that old bike. So use a gasoline that can do a better job quieting knocks. One that's 2 octane higher than regular unleaded. Unical's 89 octane.
Hey, Jimmy.
Hi, Murph.
Pitched a great game last night.
Gee, thanks.
Smooth rock, smooth jazz, not many commercials. I like the station. And it's great driving music. 95.5. Come on, come on.
Get a quick start on spring with Snapper's complete line of quality lawn products.
Snapper builds them all to last. Get the job done really fast. It's a Snap with the Snapper.
Harry Caray and Steve Stone as we go to the bottom of the first inning. Floyd Yeoman's taking his warm-up tosses. Boy, I can't get over the throw by Girardi. You know, Dernier is one of the best base runners in the league, and he had a tremendous jump, Steve, and Girardi still threw him out.
If there are any butterflies, Harry, they're certainly gone by the boards now. And if you have to make a throw early in the game, you couldn't ask for a better throw than the one by the Northwestern product, Joe Girardi. He feels like he's initiated right now, and the league is 0 for 1 against him in stolen bases.
24-year-old receiver. They're dancing in the streets in Peoria, led by Pete Van Aken. For Girardi, a local Peoria boy. Here's Jerome Walton in his major league debut. First pitch low, a breaking ball. 1 ball, no strikes. Walton had a good spring training. That's the first time he's batted in the major league. That evens it up. Missed the curveball. He's going to see a lot of those, especially the early weeks of the season.
It's a feeling out process. The National League pitchers are going to see what he can and what he can't hit. And if he makes some contact on the breaking ball, he'll see a lot more fastballs as time goes on.
Strike 2 call. Fastball over the inside corner. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Walton hit .280 during the exhibition games. Hit .331 last year at Pittsfield. Hot smash. Nice play by Schmidt. He's got it. Over the first of the out. Schmidt had him played perfectly. The ball is sharply hit.
Let's isolate on Mike Schmidt. A little concerned about his throwing arm. He has it surgically repaired last year. He hasn't made any real hard throws this spring, but they say he throws well enough to get the ball across. He only had 1 man in spring training beat out a base hit that otherwise would have been eaten up by the Mike Schmidt of years past.
Here's Mitch Webster, hit .290 against the Phillies last year. Here's a bouncing ball on the first pitch, fielded by Von Hayes, who throws the Yeomans covering for the out. That didn't take long. And that will bring up Ryan Sandberg, who traditionally has had a bad month of April in every year.
He's hoping to turn that around. He hit just .222 in spring training, but he did hit 4 home runs with 8 RBIs. And he's facing a man that was 0-1 with a .480 ERA in the spring, and that's Floyd Yeomans, who was involved in an auto accident just before the end of spring training. Had some stiffness in his neck, but X-rays said he was okay, and certainly he's able to start today.
2 out, nobody on. Fastball low and outside. Well, the Cincinnati Reds opened the season in Cincinnati yesterday, beating the Dodgers 6-4. A high pop foul back into the... right below us. A man with a cigar and a beanie makes the catch, gets a big hand. I think we're going to get some foul balls. Get the net out of Joe. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Yeomans throws a lot of high fastballs, and anything up in the wind today is gone.
Line drive stab by Mike Schmidt. Sandberg hit a bullet, but Schmidt made a backhanded catch. 1, 2, 3, nothing across. At the end of 1, no score.
Imagine a game with over 70 million prizes, enough for 1 out of 3 people to win. Introducing Scrabble at McDonald's. You can win the delicious McDLT, $1 million instantly, or spell holiday and win a week-long escape to a Holiday Inn. Ooh, this is a nice one. Play Scrabble at McDonald's. In a word, you can win.
I can't get.
You know, you'll always pay less at Red Roof Inns because you don't have to pay for extras like a lounge.
Cuckoo face.
Aren't you glad?
Everybody, those know.
Why pay for a lounge? Next time, hit the roof. Red Roof Inns.
Okay, so I paid a little more to stay in this motel. But hey, it's got this lovely pool.
Why pay for a pool you can't use? Next time, hit the roof. Red Roof Inns.
You know, my mom says you can get a really bad burn on a day like this.
Looks like a BMW 735. It must be at least 40,000.
More room than the Acura Legend. I'd say 35.
Feels like you're in one of those expensive sports cars.
Fuel-injected overhead cam V6. We're talking major money.
The under $18,000, 160 horsepower Nissan Maxima. The 4-door sports car. Test drive one at your nearest Nissan dealer now.
The fiber that's pound for pound, 5 times stronger than steel, and is in the protective vests worn by police, makes up the unique belt of road handler treadlock radials at Sears. Tough tires you can trust.
Harry Caray back at Wrigley Field. We go into the second inning. Here's Mike Schmidt, who made a fine play to rob Sandberg of a double. Curveball a little bit high. Here's a replay on it. Fine play. Leaping to his right to make a backhanded stab of a viciously hit line drive. A high pop fly will be caught in foul territory. Girardi. I wonder why Grace didn't take that ball.
Well, Harry, Joe called for it, but that's Mark Grace's ball because the wind is taking the ball away from him. He went 3/4 of the way down the first baseline, and this is a ball that Mark Grace has to come over and take. Joe Girardi called for it all the way, and as the season goes along, and maybe Joe realized that that's a pretty tough play, especially in Wrigley Field with the wind blowing out, he's going to let Grace take those.
Well, that gives Schmidt another chance. That's an error on Girardi. Bright sunshine at the moment. You know, Sutcliffe won 13 last year. 1/4 of them over the Phillies. He beat the Phillies 3 times. Strike called over the outside corner. A good fast-breaking slider. The lights tomorrow night. Bring your longies along. The pitch. There's a high pop fly coming in. Walton drops the ball for an error. Walton drops the ball for an error, and the kids of the Cubs haven't looked good in this inning. It looked like he didn't see the ball really.
He's going to have some trouble adjusting to the winds in the high sky at Wrigley Field. He stops, he starts, he comes in, and the ball just hits off the heel of his glove, bounces up into his body. So 2 errors on Mike Schmidt. He winds up at first base, and Rick Sutcliffe has got a pitch out of a jam.
Here now is Chris James. Good right-hand hitter to throw. Almost had him.
They're not going to call the hesitation balk this year. That meeting by the umpires, that was decided. But Rick Sutcliffe's going to have to be careful because occasionally he will break the back leg or go over to first without stepping there, in which case Terry Tata, who's a first base umpire, will call a balk.
James hit 19 homers last year. Curve a little low. An error by Walton. And that's the thing the kid can really do is field. Yet the first chance he had, he dropped the fly ball. In there a beauty, and that evens a count, a ball and a strike. James, 26 years old, out of Rusk, Texas.
He's a very good hitter who had a great spring. He hit .322 with a home run and 14 RBIs. Mostly a line drive hitter. He does have tremendous power.
A little bit inside. I mentioned the Reds beat the Dodgers in Cincinnati. Probably the biggest story of the day was the tremendous reception that Pete Rose got. He got 2 standing ovations. And there's no doubt about how the baseball fan feels about Pete Rose. A great competitor. There's a drive, base hit, left field. Runners are on at first and second. And now Sutcliffe has a real jam to pitch out of. Here's Ron Jones. A left-hand batter.
Jones is a contact hitter with a little pop, 2 home runs, 10 RBIs in spring training where he hit .267. He's had some knee problems, so he's not running quite as well as he has in the past. And a fastball away might yield a double play ball that Rick Sutcliffe desperately needs.
Jones, a left-hand hitter.
Jones faced Rick Sutcliffe 4 times last year, going 0 for 4.
There's a curveball outside. Sutcliffe in trouble. Runners at first and second. Bouncing ball. Grace throws the pitcher covering for the out. The runners advance to second and third. Jones grounded out. Grace to Sutcliffe. And that brings up Dickie Thon.
Rick got the ground ball on the breaking ball, but it wasn't hit hard enough to turn a pair. Good play by Mark Grace. He throws the ball perfectly to Sutcliffe. And Rick does it very well. He touches the inside of the bag and then turns around to look at Schmidt at third base.
Here's Dickie Thon.
Thon was purchased before spring training from San Diego. He had a clause in his contract that he could ask to be moved, and he did just that, realizing he really didn't have any future in San Diego. And he finds himself the opening day shortstop, having beaten out Steve Jeltz.
Thon in the exhibition games hit .224. Let's see now. Here comes Girardi. Goes out to talk to Sutcliffe and manager Don Zimmer, which might indicate something could be wrong with Sutcliffe.
I think they're looking ahead, Harry. They're looking in the on-deck circle where Darren Dalton is standing. Dalton didn't have an RBI in spring training, but he did hit .271.
Yeah, but he's a dangerous left-hand hitter, too.
And a very slow one.
And Thon. Runners at second and third. Sutcliffe taking a lot of time.
Sutcliffe realizes if he can get Thon, then you pass Dalton to get the Yeomans, and that's probably his game plan.
He swings, innings.
What the Cubs have to be concerned about now is if Joe Girardi had a problem in spring at all, it was shifting of weight from side to side. And Rick Sutcliffe usually puts that to the test because he throws a lot of breaking balls in the dirt and moves the ball around quite a bit. So Girardi's going to have to be on top of his game, and he's going to have to shift his weight very well to block some pitches.
They appeal to the umpire, but the count is 1-1. And now Thon looking down the third base line. 1 ball, 1 strike. Key moment here. He swung and a miss. Girardi, the ball was right in front of him. Maybe he was playing possum. Maybe he was trying to decoy. Chris James, or rather Mike Schmidt at third base.
Well, you always say that the big possums don't walk this early. So Girardi does a good job of blocking this low breaking ball. He can't locate it, but fortunately the ball trickles right in front of the plate. Sutcliffe is right on it. It looks like he's determined to get Dickie Thon on a breaking ball. Thon doesn't look very good on him at this point. 1 more low and away ought to about do it. But Girardi's going to have to make sure to get the glove down and get his body in front.
1 ball, 2 strikes. And Thon steps out of the batter's box. Darren Dalton will be next. One and 2 the count. down out on strike.
Great location by Rick Sutcliffe. You can see just off the outside corner, Bruce Fremming rings him up. And now they will pass Darren Dalton and take their chances with Floyd Yeomans, who, by the way, did hit fairly well last year with 3 RBIs. The batting average right in the middle of the ones, so he's not an automatic out as a pitcher.
And so the bases will be loaded with 2 out. And the pitcher, Floyd Yeomans, will be the batter.
He's hit a couple of home runs during the course of his career.
2. That was for Montreal. He's hitting 144 with 23 hits and 160 times at bat, with 2 home runs and 13 RBI. So the percentage is with Sutcliffe. But percentage doesn't get you out, the pitcher gets you out. They're playing Yeomans towards right field. Yeomans takes the first pitch low. Yeomans pitched high school baseball with Dwight Gooden, who won his ball game last night as the Mets beat the Cardinals. Ball 2. 2 balls, no strikes.
He's going to have to lay a fastball right down the middle now, Harry, and remains to be seen if Yeomans is going to be taking. I assume that he will. This is the one good pitch he'll have to hit.
Strike called. He was backing away. He was taking all the way, hoping for a base on ball. 2 balls and the strike. Sutcliffe steps off the mound onto the grass so he can blow into his hand. 2 balls and a strike. He swung and missed, and he may have chased the bad ball. 2-2.
This is the second earliest home opener for the Cubs and the earliest ever in Wrigley Field. They opened up April 3rd in 1984 in San Francisco.
2 balls, 2 strikes. We go on the bottom of the second, no score.
It's just a pure and natural beer for you. So icy cold, so crisp, so clear.
Of all the beers that are cold filtered, only one has that distinctively clean, crisp taste. Budweiser, cold filtered and beechwood aged for over 110 years.
BMW 325IS, Mercedes 560 SL, outstanding. But compare them to Riata by Buick. Riata has more standard luxury features than BMW, for thousands less. And Riata's contemporary styling is less than half Mercedes price. In fact, Consumer's Digest calls Riata one of the best buys in domestic cars. Riata by Buick. The competition pales by comparison.
The great American road belongs to Buick.
Jeep Racing Team, the winningest team in off-road racing, goes nowhere without Craftsman tools. From their durable precision power tools to hand tools that are guaranteed forever. So, make sure it's a Craftsman, because you don't want to get stuck with anything else.
A participating advertiser of Cubs baseball is the Illinois State Lottery. Have a ball. Play the lottery.
Have an important message for you, Miniki. I am not going to pay a lot for this muffler.
At Meineke, you get quality Everlast mufflers from just $18.93 installed.
Harry Caray with Steve Stone and Dwayne Stamps as we go down to the bottom of the second. Andre Dawson leading it off. Andre. Had a good cut, and he fouls it out of play.
Harry, there's a tendency to look for a little too much from Floyd Yeomans. I think a lot of the people remember his big fastball. It was timed in the low 90s. But Darrell Knoll, his pitching coach, said that that fastball has not been evident this spring, that he's been timed in the mid to upper 80s, and that's been about his tops.
Now the pitch swung on. There's a drive, but it's going to go foul. You know, Dawson hit .418 against the Phillies last year. So he's always hit pretty well against them. He really drove that one, but it was foul. We got a couple of pretty fair outfielders in the booth. Jimmy Pearsall and Gary Matthews. The old Sarge.
Gary says the wind is blowing a little too hard for him today. He doesn't want to go out there. There's the resplendent Sarge.
And right behind him is Jimmy Pearsall. Curveball outside. 2-2.
Yeomans really has to depend on his breaking pitches more than ever now, and in spring training he showed pretty good control. In fact, Knowles, who remembered him as a fireballer, said he was very impressed with the fact that he could move the ball in and out. He's going to have to get that curveball over a little more to be effective today.
The pitch. Bounces into the dirt. They are going to appeal. Did he go around or not? They say he did, and he's out on strike. And Dawson, had he known that if he had not checked his swing, could have raced for first base.
This is a straight change, and you can see the ball hits off Bruce Fremming. That's the only thing that kept it from going back to the wall. And right there, Bruce is motioning that the ball is in play, that it was a strike. You could see him point to fair territory.
Here now is Grace. Base hit, right field. On the very first pitch, Mark Grace singles to right. I tell you, we got some pretty good ball players. I mentioned Jimmy Pearsall and the Sarge, Gary Matthews. I ran into Tud McGraw, who's working on the Philly telecast along with Richie Ashburn. Tud being a great relief pitcher, Ashburn a fine center fielder. We have our own Steve Stone here, Cy Young Award winner. Let's challenge these guys.
I think we probably run out of steam in the second.
Here's Vance Law. Fastball right in there. A strike is called. Law taking a look at Chuck Cartier. Law had a career year last season, hitting .293. There's a pitch outside.
He was especially good with a man at third base and less than 2 outs. He hit .480. So when you look at a guy that has numbers like that in the clutch, you realize just how valuable he was to the club, and he's hoping to follow it up with a great one.
He swings and he misses. A changeup again. And now he's in the hole. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Floyd Yeomans came over from Montreal along with Jeff Parrott, a fine reliever. Kevin Gross going to the Expos, and Gross will fit nicely in their starting rotation. The Phillies got a starter and a very good relief pitcher in the deal.
Here's a pitch outside. 2-2. Wrigley Field never looked better. The sun is shining. New press box, new super boxes. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Bouncing ball might get a double play. Out at second for 1. Out at first for 2. Law bounced into a double play. 5-4-3. At the end of 2, no score.